Okay, so I guess we had a little bit of an eventful day today. We got this one in unexpectedly. It just showed up. It was simple too. He said it wouldn't start, and I was thinking, you know, serious problem or whatever. And he said his battery's only a year old. Well, when I opened the seat up, it was on its side and leaking. So I replaced the battery, and it started. Now, I will admit that it was hard to start. The engine didn't want to turn over, but it started. So I adjusted the valves, which made it easier to start. The reason it took any time at all was after I got it started, I started it several more times to make sure it would continue to start. And then I took it over to the bay and raised it up. But, you know, I had to wait for the engine to cool down so I could get a good measurement on the valves. When you're talking thousandths of an inch, the heat really makes a difference. So I waited until it got down to 90 degrees. It's 88 today, 86 or something. So I waited until it got down to 90 degrees, and I adjusted them, brought it over here, washed it up, and it still starts. It starts right up. It's like, you know, you almost feel guilty sometimes how easy it is sometimes to get these to run. Just changed the battery. But I checked the battery, and it was at 11.6 volts, so I mean it had no power. And I tried to charge it, and it wouldn't take a charge. I even tried to charge it with the beast, you know, by jumping it. That didn't work. So I tell you, it's kind of incredible how fast the money starts to accumulate out here. You figure, okay, I changed the blades on that, so we got, you know, some money in there. There's a lot of money in these two mowers. The reason is she wanted me to change the head on this one. This one didn't run, so I had to get it running. Change the head on it. So there's a lot of parts on that one. Had to clean the carburetor. No, I had to get a new carburetor on that one. And then I got a, what do I got over here? Oh, leaf blower. So, you know, I got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items sitting here. You know, there's a significant amount of money. I try not to tell people what I make around, you know, on the hobby business, but there's a significant amount of money. Now, yesterday I told you I'm going to repair that weed eater. Somebody gave that to me. I'm going to repair it and get it running for ourselves. So that's only $20. This lawnmower sitting here, the engine bearing is the crank bearing is just shot. Makes a horrible noise. It runs, but man, it's terrible. So I gotta get the generator put away. The reason I'm running the generator, oh, I should mention, so I was having problems with the inverter, and it turns out that the wire from the battery to the inverter has melted and was causing my inverter to shut off. So this has been a problem. I didn't see the burnt wire for a long time, well, until yesterday. I mean, I've had a problem with it for a couple weeks, and I keep going down and looking. Well, I was pretty convinced the inverter was bad. So as you know, well, you may know, I have a backup inverter. The inverter that I thought went bad was a true sine wave inverter. So the backup inverter is a modified sine wave, so it's a cheaper model. So I put it on there just so I could run the well. It's the big inverter, the big expensive one. It's almost $300. So I put the cheap one on, tried to run the well, and it did the same thing. It just shut off. So I went back down there, and I noticed that wire had been burned. So I ordered a new wire. But at least that's not a serious problem. At least I don't think it is. We'll get the wire here, and then we'll figure it out. But that's the most obvious problem, since both inverters aren't working. Then I'll put the new, the more expensive one, the true sine wave inverter, back in this spot when it gets here. So, but that's why I'm having to run the generator to run the pressure washers, because I'm just not, that wire was burned. So, oh, I guess I did say I was going to put this away, so I guess I should. And I like this generator. I don't have to drain the gas out of it every time. I mean, it's a dual fuel, but I don't run the gas in it anymore. I gotta get some more propane. We're out. So, I guess I don't understand folks. I joined a Facebook group, small engine repair and discussion group. It's a pretty large group. It's not monitored very well. As a matter of fact, I got trolled. I made one reply trying to help somebody, and I was told I was wrong. I even proved I was right. I sent the schematics and all that. They was gaslighting me at this point because I showed them exactly what I had found, and they act like they didn't see it. So they just kept gaslighting. So I decided I wasn't going to help people anymore because I don't want to be trolled on my channel and in Facebook. So, but I guess I don't understand it. First of all, you would think that if you're going to join a group like that, you're doing one of two things. You intend to teach people, or you intend to learn. So I joined it just to see, kind of quiz myself if I could see a problem just by the definition, you know, the whatever they wrote. Hey, it won't start, and here's what we're seeing, you know, and then I could kind of quiz myself, see if I could figure it out. Then I could look at the comments, see what they said. Of course, you got tons of people who are trolls. And then you just got people who are absolute jerks. You have no business being in this group if you don't know the basics. Throw your purse at it. You know, that kind of stuff. I was like, you came here to either teach or learn. So why are you being mean? I really don't get it. But I guess I do see a little bit of the troll's position. A little bit. So a couple times I've seen people post things and they have no business posting. Today, somebody had a push mower with a plastic carburetor on it. Now, plastic carburetors are the easiest things to work on. I've just, both of those walk behind things, the push mower and the weed eater, both have plastic carburetors. They're so easy to work on. Now, that one plastic, the push mower carburetor, it was broke. There was actual break in it, so I had to replace that. But they're easy to clean, easy to take apart, easy to put back together, easy to get running. They don't corrode. They're just nice. So he has it kind of hanging off the mower, but it's still on the wire. And I can't exactly remember. He says, I got a customer with this garbage plastic carburetor. I have no idea how to work on it. What do you... Almost every new lawnmower now, push mower, has a plastic carburetor. So if you've never worked on one, aren't willing to get on YouTube and look, why are you calling it garbage? You have no idea if it's garbage or not. Just because it's plastic doesn't make it garbage. It's actually a pretty nice design. So I don't understand how you could be working with customers and not know this. Had another one that they said that the customer brought the push mower over and they didn't understand what this plastic thing was on the carburetor. Yeah. Okay, so you have a customer who brought you a lawnmower that you're going to repair, and you don't understand how the choke operates, because that's what it was. I mean, it had a green arrow pointing down to it. This mower had an automatic choke. So when you start it, the wind from the flywheel, you know, because it has a fan on it, blows this flag open, which opens the choke. It's a great design, and I remember that when I was a kid. You know, I might be lying to you about that. I think back then it was the governor. I think the governor ran off that wind pressure. Yeah, that's what it was. I apologize. But either way, ever since I was a kid, they had a flag in front of the flywheel for one reason or another. So it's such a basic design. I mean, it's not rocket science. So I don't understand. Look, I don't expect You're going in that group for two reasons. One, to learn, or one, to teach. But if you're going in there to say, I have a customer and I need information on how to fix this, I'm a little concerned about that. Shouldn't you be learning things first? Okay, let's just assume you've decided you're going to start a shop up and you don't know anything about lawnmowers. Not that I agree with that, but perhaps you shouldn't mention to a bunch of people, I have a customer and I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know. It just seems weird to me. So then there was a commenter from a lady who said, I just took my lawnmower and called the shop, and the guy said he was going to charge me $35 to pick it up. They'll diagnose it and they'll give me a call, tell me what's wrong with it. And so he picked it up, and a week went by, she called, no answer. 2 weeks went by, she called, no answer. She's starting to call every day now, no answer. So she finally goes over to the shop and asked him, where's my mower? He said, oh yeah, it's $300 or $350. And she gives him $300. I don't know how she negotiated that, but she got it for $300. So he brings it back to her, and she runs it for a bit, and it dies and won't start. So calls her back, and he said it had a 30-day warranty. So she calls him back, says, hey, it's not running. So he picks it up and says it's a $50 charge to pick it up. Takes back shop, fixes it. Well, she decides, I'm not going to pay to bring it back. So she walks over to the shop or something like that and drives the lawnmower 3 miles home. So she's explaining this all in the group. And I understand what's going on now. She got one of those guys that don't know how to clean a carburetor, a plastic carburetor. It's junk, or doesn't know what the flag is for the governor, or the governor, or the choke. How can you be in business if you don't know what you're doing? I see this on YouTube. There's a guy who clearly has no idea what he's doing. Every time he makes a YouTube video, he asks his audience, I'm not sure what's going on here. You guys got any idea? And it's usually something really simple. Like the battery. I think I got a starter problem. The engine won't turn over, and everybody's, yeah, well, did you check the battery? Well, like today, got that Toro in. I didn't immediately assume the worst, like it was a starter or something. I assumed, well, let's check the battery, since it was definitely on its side and it's leaking. And then when I got a new battery in it, if it hadn't been the battery, I could have just taken the battery out. I mean, I knew it was battery because I tested it. It was 11.6 volts. So I guess I'm not trying to criticize. I don't understand. That's all. I just don't understand people. They're going to start a business that they don't know how to do. I just don't understand that. And so that lady who said her mechanic is terrible, everybody in the comment section was like, well, don't take it to mechanics. That's a terrible idea. You should take it to your boyfriend or your neighbor. They're better mechanics than mechanics. Okay, so now I'm realizing mechanics just have a bad name, and they're not mechanics. They're basically the boyfriend or the neighbor who decided to, well, I'm just going to start working on lawnmowers and make some. And the thing is every one of them will tell you, you got to charge hundreds of dollars for any service, anything. Oh, it's $100 an hour, not a penny less. Oh my goodness, I just can't even understand why you are charging so much. You're charging people to learn how to work on their lawnmower. What kind of scam is that? There's a good YouTuber he's a huge channel. And he said, he has a rate, whatever that rate is. So I think it's $65. So that's his hourly rate. But when he works on something he's never seen before, he reduces the cost, because he says, I can't charge the customer 4 or 5 hours because I'm learning how to do this for the first time. He says, now the next time I'll know how to do this and I can charge my regular rate. So, he may only charge an hour, even though he's worked all day on it, because he's learning, which I agree with. You shouldn't be charging customers to learn. That's what these people are doing. Just insane questions. It's hard to turn over. Should I adjust the valves? Well, yeah, that's the first thing you should do if it's hard to turn over. Or should I change the compression release? Okay, so you're going to take the entire engine off to see if the compression relief is, open it up to see if the compression relief is bad. before you check the valves, which you're going to have to check the valve. You're going to have to open up the valve cover to get the push rods out so you can open up the engine. So why not just check the valves? It's not that hard. Feeler gauge, that's it. That's all you need, a feeler gauge. So, like again, I'm not really criticizing. I'm asking questions here. I don't get it. So if you'll click this up next box to take the video over to my other channel, really appreciate it. Go check it out. So I hope I can inspire you to make sure you have an idea what you're going to do so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.